In the heart of Europe, where the streets echo with whispers of history, there was a woman whose beauty was only surpassed by her deceit. Her name was Helen, and she was known to the elite as the enchanting mistress to many wealthy men. But underneath her attractive looks lay a gloomy secret. Her touch was deadly, a gift, or rather a curse, that she discovered in her youth. With a mere touch, she could draw the life from any man, leaving behind nothing but a cold shell. Helen's latest conquest was a prominent businessman, Zuka, whose marriage had long been a facade. He was drawn to Helen's charm and intelligence. She, in turn, was drawn to the rich lifestyle he could provide. They met in the secret, their rendezvous filled with passion and promises of a future together. But Helen had no intention of a shared future. She had a plan, one that served her well over the years. As their affair escalated, so did her influence over Zuka. She convinced him to rewrite his will, leaving his huge estate to her in the event of his untimely demise. One fateful evening, as they sat by the fireplace in Zuka's secluded mansion, Helen decided it was time. She whispered sweet nothings into his ear, her fingers tracing the lines of his palm. Zuka, completely under her spell, could only smile blissfully, unaware that it would be his last. As the life drained from him, Helen felt a surge of power. She stood watching as the man who had promised her the world became nothing more than a memory. She moved quickly, knowing that time was of the essence. By morning, the news of Zuka's sudden death had spread, and Helen played the part of the grieving mistress to perfection. The inheritance was hers, and with it she vanished into the night, leaving behind a trail of whispers and suspicions. The authorities were baffled, the cause of death unexplainable, and so Helen continued her dance with death, her magic fingers weaving a path of destruction masked by a veil of seduction. But as the saying goes, every action has its consequence. Helen's deeds had not gone unnoticed. A detective with a keen eye for detail, Felix, had been following her trail, piecing together the puzzle of the unexplained death. He was determined to bring her to justice. The game of cat and mouse ensued, with Helen always one step ahead. But Felix was patient, and his opportunity came one rainy night when Helen sought her next victim. He confronted her, his evidence undeniable, his gaze piercing through her defenses. Cornered and desperate, Helen tried to use her fatal touch on Felix, but he was prepared. Wearing gloves treated with a special compound, he was immune to her deadly magical touch. In the end, justice prevailed. Helen was captured, her reign of terror brought to an end. The properties were returned to their rightful heirs, and peace was restored. Felix became a hero, his name synonymous with integrity and courage. Helen's magic powers, once a weapon, were now bound, her power rendered useless. She spent her days in a cell, her nights possessed by the ghosts of her past. As Helen sat in her cell, resigned to her fate, a letter was delivered to her. It was from Felix, the detective who had captured her. In the letter, he revealed a shocking truth. He was her twin brother, separated at birth, who had been searching for her all his life. He had known about her curse, and his immunity was not due to any special compound, but because the curse did not affect blood relatives. Felix had discovered the origins of her curse, a family gift, a ring that had been passed down through generations. If she could find it and return it to its rightful place, the curse would be lifted. Helen's story was far from over. Their childhood separation had been a tragedy, but their reunion offered a glimmer of hope for Helen's redemption.